All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Workshop Wednesday with the iMask. I'm Selena, and today we are making art inspired by women artists. Let us know in the comments if you can hear me okay. We are testing out a new mic, so just let us know in the comments you can hear us. If not, let us know, and we'll make some adjustments. All right, so I'm going to keep going on. So yes, today it's Workshop Wednesday. We're making art inspired by women artists. Let us know in the comments where you're tuning in from, and if you have any questions along the way with the activity. I want to say HEB Workshop Wednesday is brought to you by HEB Helping Here. So let's say thank you, HEB, for helping us put together these fun and educational workshops for our community. All right, so this month is March, and it's Women's History Month. And we want to celebrate by making some art inspired by some artists. So today I have gathered 3 artists that I find inspiring and are very important throughout our history, especially in art history. And those 3 that I chose are Emily Carr, and this is a photo of her. I made some little inspiration boards for myself. And I'll talk more about her work in a bit, so let me just point out real quick who they are. I have Emily Carr. I have Georgio O'Keeffe. Maybe some of you have heard these names before, and I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of Frida Kahlo. So this is a picture of her, and this is some of her work. So I'm going to first talk about Emily Carr. So Emily Carr, she was born in 1871, and she lived a pretty lengthy life. Emily Carr was a Canadian artist, and she was first inspired by indigenous peoples in her area, people that live close by to her. So she did start off in that realm of their lives, like their areas that they lived in, and she later on went into making some landscape art. And these are some examples here. This is an earlier time of her work, and this is also a later time, so you can see some differences. All right, and next one I have, actually let's do Georgio O'Keeffe. She comes next in the timeline. Georgio O'Keeffe is born in 1887, and she passed later in 1986. That's almost 100 years old. And Georgio O'Keeffe is extremely known in the art history world, especially for women artists. Georgio O'Keeffe's work, she's really well known for abstract-looking art, but mostly these close-up looking florals. And this is actually an example of that. It actually goes this way, but I just wanted to fit it into the presentation board. But it looks like this, and it is a close-up of a black iris flower. She also did some watercolors earlier in her life, and this is an example of one of those of a landscape. This one's called Canyon with Crows. And I thought this was really interesting because she did originally start with watercolors, and later on she really developed this technique of oils and modern art, and I made a little flip of how much she progressed over time, and it's just totally different, has more detail, and it's almost very modern. It's definitely modern for her time. Yeah. All right. The next one, the last one, my third, is Frida Kahlo. So again, real quick, let us know in the comments if you can hear me well. I hope everyone can hear us, all right? So Frida Kahlo, she was born in 1907, and she didn't have a very long life. She didn't make it until 50, but she did have all those years to really put an effort into the art world, especially as a female artist. She's very well known for her self-portraits, which are very surreal and personal. These are some examples here. She did a lot of practicing, again, with herself, and I'll explain a little bit later why she focused on herself. Up here, this is an example of that she used. So today I'm going to be making a landscape painting. I'm going to put together these 3 artists, their inspiration by nature, and taking those to create my own. And this is an example that I found might help me along the way. You'll see that this is a pretty common way that she used, or a technique that she would use to portray what she saw in the space of landscape type of view. So I'm going to put it aside, and before I get started, I'm going to talk about the supplies you need. And if you were able to get a kit this past month, this is what comes inside the kit. So you'll have gotten some washable paint, very great to have around the house, especially if you're a beginner. It comes with 10 different colors, and I'll open that in a bit. You'll also have gotten some paintbrushes. Depending on your age, if you're younger, we'll have given you some more easier to hold paintbrushes. And if you're more an adult, we'll have provided you with these more technical brushes. But both work great. Even if you have some extra brushes around the house, you can definitely grab those. Inside the kit as well, we have provided a canvas. It's a flat panel canvas, and it's really great for framing if you later want to frame your work. We also have a styrofoam plate, just perfect for mixing your own palette. And last but not least, we have a plastic apron, and I'm definitely going to use this. I don't want to get my work shirt dirty. So if you have your stuff ready, you can go ahead and take these things out, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this on. Oh, the mic. All right, I hope it's not causing too much noise. I'm just going to put this on real quick. You'll also want to grab a cup of water. I like to, just a personal thing for me, I like to have 2 cups of water. Maybe this will help you out as well. I like to clean my dirty brush in a cup of water to get off all the paint, and then re-dip it in some clean water to really get a clean brush. You'll also need some paper towels or an old towel as well. Sure, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and switch just so we don't hear any of that plastic noise. All right, so again, these are the materials you need. And if you have any questions, again, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We want to know where it is you are watching from, whether you're here by us here in the RGV, or maybe you're even from Houston or Dallas. We've had some people all around, but we've had some people surprisingly from different areas. All right, I want to make sure y'all can hear me well. Okay, great, awesome. Okay, I feel more comfortable and I feel positive for this. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open up these colors. So these colors that we chose, they're very bright, they're very colorful, and I think this is a great opportunity to make some vibrant colors. I think with most colors, in my opinion, especially if you have darker colors, things can tend to get a little bit more muddy and vibrant. Cool. Oh, look at this color. Matches my nails. We got some bright colors here, some basic colors as well. And I'm going to open up these brushes here. So when you get new brushes, it's important to rinse your brushes and wash them first because they just came from manufacturer, and sometimes they will have a coating on the bristles and it will feel kind of messy. So when it happens, or when it has that, it's not going to pick up your paint as great as it should. So again, wash your brushes. And so for example, I'll probably start with this one. I do have something in mind already for today, and if you don't, that's okay. I've already had my artists in mind, and I said already in advance that I'm going to be doing a landscape painting today. And again, these 3 artists I chose, they're for my own inspiration. You don't have to choose the same artists I have. In fact, I encourage you, if you're later watching this, to do your own research and figure out what artists inspire you, whether it be the texture or the types of colors they use or their subjects. All right, I'm going to test out both. I'm going to try these more simple Crayola brushes, and then I'm going to try out these big, cool-looking brushes. Okay, so I think I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be making a landscape. Again, Frida, I have an example of what she kind of textures or techniques she used to create her own landscape. Same as Georgio O'Keeffe, which I think, I was looking at this one, and this one I really like. It almost looks like folds or like material, like a blanket, and I think that that is definitely interesting. It's not detailed or like realistic. It's more what she sees. What she sees in what she sees in the landscape. And I like this idea as well of seeing the brush strokes. You can tell like either they're like tapped or lightly brushed, rather than this type of painting where she blended her colors more. So find out what you like. I'm just going to experiment as I go and see how my paints treat me. And we'll go from there. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a landscape, and again, you can make whatever it is you want. Again, we're making art inspired by women artists, and this is just what inspires me, and I thought it would also be easy to demonstrate with a landscape. You can look at artists who do flowers or maybe self-portraits. Maybe you're into self-portraits. Frida would be a great person to look at for that. All right, so in my landscape, start off with a simple blue sky. And I'm going to be painting upside down just for a challenge, and so that way you can see well. All right, so when I start, especially an outdoor type of painting, I always first focus on the background. It's harder to get to that background later, so that's where I'm going to start. So for my sky, I'm going to do a blue. I'm going to be I see right away over here that Emily Carr has like some hints of yellow. I kind of like that idea actually. So since I'm doing the background, I'm going to start with a flat, big brush. I think this one's bigger than this one, but both would work. I think, yeah, sure. All right. Better? All right. Okay, I hope that's better. So I'm going to start off with a light sky. So to make light blue, I'm going to drip on some white. I'm probably going to need a bit of paint for this, so I'll just blop it on there. And I want you to consider this as practice. And I never like to put a lot of pressure on myself when I'm making art, because art should be fun, and this is, our own thing. So this is also a technique I like. I just like to marble my paint rather than swirling. I'll just tap. Because if I end up swirling, I'll end up just painting my my palette. So I just like to tap, and that marble effect will give me some cool colors as I brush. So I really like to get a good amount of paint on here, and this is my technique. I'm doing some back and forth motion. I really do like the idea of Emily Carr's sky in one of her paintings, and you can see the brush strokes in there. So there's a difference of whether you're doing long brush strokes back to side, back, or whether you're making brush strokes like this. And I think that actually sounds more fun. I'm gonna just surprise myself and see what happens if I do this, because I feel like most of the time I do like to paint cleanly, and I think this might be a good time for me to experiment with actual brush texture. So this is my sky. I'm painting the top here. And so my idea so far is I'm going to have my blue sky, and I'm going to have maybe like 2 or 3 layers of mountains, and then I'm going to focus later on a I guess, like a floor or dirt land. All right, so I don't have to go all the way down, at least for myself. But yeah, as you're painting, I want you to think of what kind of brush techniques you're using. Again, I'm kind of just dabbing or lightly or small strokes, brush strokes. Feel like I'm not the best at explaining it, but I'm sure you can see what kind of technique I'm using here. Just to create some texture. I think I really like that in, I guess, my preference of paintings. I'm just going to make a little bit more. I'm not really sure how far I should go, but I do want some tall mountains, so maybe I don't need to go this far. So I'm just going to lay it on here. So just when painting, especially with the background, you might need some time to let your background dry before you move on. But I think I also want to play with the colors kind of mixing and doing their own thing and me trying to work with that. So I'm going to just go ahead and go to the next step, which is going to be my mountains. So if you're just tuning in, this is Workshop Wednesday. We are making art inspired by women artists. I have chosen Emily Carr, Frida Kahlo, and Georgio O'Keeffe as my inspiration, and I'm making a landscape painting based on techniques that they used and some colors that they chose. So let's see, I'm gonna look over to, let's get inspired, Georgio O'Keeffe. I really love her use of colors. So Georgio O'Keeffe, she was a very, people thought of her as kind of like not a rebel, but she really broke the rules of traditional art, and she wanted to explore colors and focus on the way her brush moves. So as you can see here, it's not realistic mountains. They look like folds, and they have great value, and even some of those mountains aren't realistic colors. You have like a blue mountain in the very back, and I really like that idea. So I think I'm gonna play with color for my mountains, and maybe even like a bluish purple would be fun, or maybe even green. I'm gonna be making, I'll just go ahead and make two. I feel like I'll probably get carried away because I love painting, but I'll make two different mountains, and I think I'm gonna do like a bluish purple mountain in the very back, and maybe a greenish blue for the front, if that makes sense, but you'll see where I'm going with this. So I'm gonna need a good amount of paint. So blue for both of them. I'm gonna add green to one, and I'm gonna add purple to the other. So don't be afraid to mix your colors and experiment. There's no black. I think there's brown, but I don't think there's a black. So, and they're pretty gentle paints, so you don't have to worry about it getting too muddy. So I'm gonna make black. Oh yeah, you can definitely make black. It's almost like mixing all the colors together, but I probably wouldn't put yellow because yellow will make it a little bit lighter. Or white, of course. Don't use white for your black. All right, so I got my sky, and yes, I'm doing this upside down, but this is for fun. I'm going to just wing some mountains. So as you can see, the way I'm using my brush here, instead of using it flat like this, I'm turning it and I'm holding it directly at the canvas. And I'm just gonna sweep. It's a surprise. I don't know what it looks like from your perspective. Cool. So I'm just gonna play with that idea there, and then I'm just gonna continue that brush. Lean this right there. There we go. And use that brush texture to create my mountains. So I'm going for that darker blue back mountain, and then a greenish blue for the front. So as I do this, I thought I'd talk to you a little bit more about why women's art is important and why we celebrate especially women during the month of March. So if you, I guess if you're young, you might not know too much about the movement for equality. And I know that sounds like a big, I guess, big words or big ideas. But in the past, women were not exactly, I guess, seen or treated the same as men in history. And in art, women's art was often overlooked or undervalued compared to their male counterparts. And so women wanted to be seen, they wanted to be heard, and they wanted to be included in the art world. Of course, a man's experience compared to a woman's experience, or a boy or girl's experience, they're very different. And so in the art world, that's where women wanted to be seen. So we have Georgio O'Keeffe, who's probably is definitely from our earliest time of my three artists. And this is real quick. So I got my back mountain, and I'm gonna make I think I'm gonna cross it over. Why not? I'm just gonna experiment for fun here. So I think I'm gonna make it a little taller too. And mountains, they have like their own shapes. There's no specific shape. They're very organic and flowy, and they kind of just do their own thing. So I'm just gonna trust my upside down painting skills to surprise me when I flip this over. Oh, actually, yeah, that'd be nice. Okay, so we're just gonna switch up the view here. That way I don't wobble this thing. Wow, okay, I'm not doing so bad. Cool, all right, this is exciting. Okay, here we go. All right, so again, I'm using this brush texture. If you're not doing a landscape like me, I'd love to know what it is that inspires you, or maybe you already have some artists in mind. I'd love to know who it is that inspires you and what you're painting. Also, definitely drop a picture. I'd love to see what you're working on, and maybe you're an artist that will inspire me the next time I want to get inspired. Cool. Oh, I really, really love the texture that my paintbrush makes with my paint. Cool. You can definitely see the difference between those two mountains. They kind of have the same color to them, but they are very different. So let's see. I think I want more mountain than land, so I'm just going to bring this down a little bit more. All right, so as I was saying, there we go. I think I like that. All right. Actually, before I continue talking, I feel like I can talk on and on about this subject. But one thing I definitely want to do is play with more color. Now, you can either do like solid color of sky, solid color of mountains, but I see that I have some blue in that green, and I really like it. So I'm going to continue playing with my brushes and that technique to add more color to them. So I'm thinking when you're outside, you definitely have a source of light, which is the sun. So let's say my sun is coming from this side. I'm going to pretend it's coming from this corner. So I'm going to add some yellow from my sun. I'm going to just make it pop. And maybe I'll even use pink. That warmish It's not yellow, but it's warm, a warm color that the sun can make. All right, so I mixed a little bit of white and yellow. Yellow tends to be a little transparent, so I added a little bit of white to make it less transparent. And again, I'm going to pretend that my sun is coming from this side. And again, I'm just continuing with that brush stroke technique. And it's okay if it mixes and if it, I'm just going to have fun with it. I'm not trying to make it exact, but yeah, it kind of looks like we got some sunlight hitting it. Cool. And maybe I'll just add a little bit more. Maybe there's some peaks sticking out that are also getting some light. And I want to stick to this side again, not this side. This is where my shadows will probably be. I got my light source coming from this side. All right.
Yeah, I love that none of them are realistic, you know, they're very colorful.
Yeah, definitely. So when we look at nature, again, I'm trying to get inspired by nature. I'm trying to think of like maybe scenes that I wish I could see. I have gone on trips before where I've seen mountains, but they're not down here where I live, and I love it. It makes me feel like I'm in a different world. So when I'm out there, I've seen, you know, mountains hit by sunlight, and when the sun's going down and the sunset just brings on the most beautiful colors. I don't know if y'all have been seeing outside lately, but when it's about I want to say like 7:30, maybe 8 o'clock when the sun is starting to go down. I know we're like in this time change right now. The other day and the day before, it was just like this beautiful golden warm color outside. It was cloudy, so everything was just like this solid yellow golden color, but it was only for like 10 minutes. And it was gorgeous. And I can imagine seeing those mountains in you know, with that kind of lighting, and I'm just using my imagination. I'm just thinking in my head and what I think is beautiful, and again, getting inspired by nature. All right, so I picked up some warm colors. I think I'm gonna go into some orange. I don't know, I'm just gonna have fun and mix some colors, maybe a little bit of yellow in there. And again, I added white just to make sure it's not completely transparent. And oh, I really like the way that looks. It's just fun. I really love colorful works of art, and I think that's why I like the 3 artists that inspired me. But if maybe you like only warm colors, or maybe you like only cool colors, or maybe you like neutrals or dark colors, mine is definitely colorful, colorful inspired work, and I'm just going to try to represent that in my painting. All right, so that's fine. I'll paint over that in a bit. Cool. All right, so I got some warmer colors on where my light is hitting. Now I'm going to move on to like some cooler colors for the shadows, which is definitely going to be maybe purple and green. I think these are definitely cooler than my warm colors like yellow, orange, and red. So I think I am missing purple on my palette here. I think, what was I saying earlier? I think I was talking about women, women, you know, fighting to be seen, or not fighting to be seen, but wanting to be seen in the art world. So what I was talking about, you know, not the same opportunities as men and women. Some women, you know, there was times when, you know, even in history where women would make these great works of art, and sadly, you know, a male artist may have taken credit for it. I mean, it's very sad, and unfortunately it's true, and it's just something that is true in history, and reason why we have female artists who really try to get their perspectives and their feelings involved in the art world. And it's a great way to document history, definitely. Not just maybe with, I know we have books and stuff like that, but taking that into a creative way of like visually creative by making artwork is incredible. Really taking that time to express your feelings in a beautiful way. And some other challenges, even for women, was, some women artists were not even allowed to be a part of a gallery or have an opportunity to even speak at an exhibition simply because they were a woman. And I know we don't really, we don't live in the same world we did a lot, like 100 years ago. It was very different then, maybe even 100 years before that too. I'm just going to go back a little bit into my sky and deepen some color there. I think I might add a little bit of yellow to it just to make it look like the golden hour. Like I was saying the other day, it was nice and gold outside. And some of those clouds were beautiful golden yellow. So I'm a little nervous because I know blue and yellow make green, but let me go ahead and clean my brush. And I'm just going to play with it. All right, not bad. Again, it doesn't have to be realistic. I just really want it playful and colorful. I'm just using a very little bit of paint. There's like hardly anything on there. And I'm just dabbling. Cool. Oh, I really like how that looks. All right, now I need to focus on my bottom half of my landscape, which is going to be either dirt. I think I'll do like maybe, let's see, I think Frida's work, she shows a very interesting technique for her ground. It's not very realistic. It almost looks like layered, a lot of shadows, a lot of highlights, and it almost looks like cracks in the floor.
She's on the desert.
Yeah, like a desert, definitely. And then all of a sudden you have this greenery flowing out of her. I think that's amazing. It's like a big difference in a desert, and you see these beautiful green leaves flowing out. But yeah, the texture for the ground, I don't know if I can do that with this type of paint. I think for this painting, she used oils, and oils are very different from the type of paint that I'm using, but I'm going to try something similar. Interestingly, I like that color, so I'm going to use it. All right. Oh yeah, a very nice warmish tone. I think I had a lot of orange and green in that. Here we go.
The exhibit open.
Oh, awesome, yes. So if you haven't heard, we have a new exhibit opening up next week, and we just so happen to be talking about this artist. The exhibit that we have, actually maybe that was in the back of my head subconsciously, we have an exhibit coming called The World of Frida. Okay, did I say it right? The World of Frida. And it's not Frida's work exactly. It is inspired by the work of Frida, and it has works by different artists that have come together to create a gallery of work, again inspired by her. There's going to be paintings of her, maybe like portraits of her, photos, or yeah, they're all paintings. And I'm really excited. I haven't taken a look at what it's going to look like yet. I think I've seen one photo, and I think it's on our website right now. I think we even have a social media post out there with a view of the work. And I'm just really excited to see what's going to look like. All right, so I'm just going to play with, I don't know, orange and green. I think it should make brown. Yeah. I'm just going to play. Ooh, that's a good idea. All right, I kind of like, look at that orange over the, like, turquoise color. Makes a really pretty green. That could even be some grass for me. I mean, if my painting's doing its own thing, then it works for me. Cool. So I think, again, so I'm just kind of working with this brush technique where and I'll go slow just so you can see. You can see those brush strokes I've been using. Here I'm using a big brush. You can see where I used a tinier brush. And I'm focusing on my warm colors for my light source and cool colors for my shadows. So I'm just going to continue doing that with
Don't know what are warm colors. What would be cool?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So warm colors are colors like this. So you got your red, orange, and yellow. Warm colors of what you imagine the sun makes on a sunny day or sunset. Orange, yellow, and red. I think some consider pink to also be a warm color. I feel like it's kind of in the middle, personally. And cool colors are, if you think of like a cloudy, rainy day, what colors do you see outside? You would definitely see a lot of blue tones, maybe even like greenish tones. I really love this color, maybe of what the grass looks like when it's cloudy outside. And this is also a cool color, purple. So again, shadows, a lot of shadows will carry cool colors, again, like purple tones and blue tones, and warm colors definitely from your yellow sun, bright yellow sun. All right, so as I continue, you can kind of just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to continue the same techniques here. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the artist that I chose, some cool facts about him. So first I'll talk about Frida. And I'm actually going to bring this over here because I put together this little inspiration board and I found out so much more than I thought I knew. And I made a cool fact sheet for myself, and I don't want to get the information wrong. So I'll just kind of put that aside and I'll talk about what I've learned. So Frida is a Mexican artist, and she was born in Mexico. And she was inspired by Mexican artifacts and, I want to say even textiles and, traditional folk art. And I don't know what I'm doing here, but I see that it looks like greenery, and I like it. I think I might make some trees. I'm kind of just mixing the colors I have here so I can utilize them, and I'm putting this blue and orange together, and it makes a really cool green. And kind of looks like a forest tree. I think I'll go with that. Yeah, I'm into it. Okay. So Frida, I think, let me make sure I say the correct thing. So, yeah, Frida started painting, I think she painted, she dabbled in painting when she was younger. It was something that she was interested in, the idea of being, professional painter, artist. But she ended up taking a path towards the medical field. And unfortunately, when she was 18, she got in a bus accident, and she ended up being bedridden for 3 months, which is a very challenging experience. I can't even imagine. And because she was in bed, she couldn't move. She couldn't do anything. She had to lay on her back. And she just felt kind of lonely, and she thought she'd pick up her interest from when she was younger in art, and she started painting. Her mother got her a very special easel, and her father gave her her old oil paints, and they attached at the top a mirror that was facing her, and she started making self-portraits. And I think it's I don't know if it's well known to you all, but something that is recognized in the art world by something she said was, she always felt alone, and she's the subject she knows best. So that's why she got inspired painting her self-portraits. And I think that's, a very strong movement on why you're creating art and why you're painting yourself. Gave her some time to connect to herself and her feelings, and maybe even, I think she painted her family members as well. It was like making your family tree in a painting. So again, if you all have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'd love, again, to know what you're working on, or maybe if you know any cool facts about the artists I've chosen that I am not mentioning, share them. I'd love to know what I'm missing out on.
Comment their favorite woman artist.
Yeah, what are your favorite female artists, women artists? Let me know. We have a very big scale of women artists out there that, I'm just touching very few of them. And I'd love to know, again, what inspires you? Oh, this is looking pretty cool. Hope you guys like it. I'm really enjoying it. Oh, you know what I want? I want some hot pinks in there. I'm going to use my nails as reference. I think it might look good. So yeah, Frida, that's how she picked up her painting again. And ooh, I like that. I feel like pink is like I said, I feel like it's a middle between cool and warm. I feel like it's definitely more warm, but it can easily be pulled into purple, which is a cool tone. So like if I wanted to put it in my shadows, I feel like it would still work. I really feel like that makes a big difference, especially in all those cool colors. That pink pops out really well. And again, it's not realistic. I'm just having fun. And I'm just using these little paint strokes. Cool. I might even add some color to my trees. And I feel like doing the texture for the ground is a little too challenging for me. But I will try to add some kind of texture to it. I'm just adding a little bit. Hey, that looks cool. Let's go with that. Some warmer, darker colors of orange. Cool fact. Since I have both Frida and Georgio O'Keeffe as my artists, although they have I think at the time there was like a 20-year difference between them, but they met, Frida and Georgio O'Keeffe. They met here in New York in the United States. I think Frida was living here for a while. Her husband was also an artist, and Georgio O'Keeffe, she's an American artist, so they ended up meeting I think at a gallery, and they became actually pretty good friends. They had things in common as female artists, and they both had husbands who were artists as well. So they bonded over that. They would write letters and stuff. I thought that was really cool. And I just so happened to pick the two of them as my inspiration. All right. What else? What else can I talk about Frida? Oh, cool fact. So Frida, like I said, she's a Mexican artist. And I did not know myself that her father was German. I did not know that. Her father is German. Her mother was I think of just Spanish Mexican descent, and he ended up. Her father moved from Germany to Mexico, and he became a permanent citizen when he was like 20 and ended up living there for the rest of his life. Had Frida, and I thought that was really cool. I did not know that part. So those are some facts about Frida. If I missed anything, let me know. I'd love to know any facts. I ended up getting really into my research on these artists. Some pinks. I feel like it doesn't make sense, but it looks nice. I just didn't want it like super solid color, but I have some pinks up here. I thought I might throw some down here in the bottom. Before I continue talking about my artists, I want to remind you all that every month during Workshop Wednesday, we do a giveaway for some items from HEB. Again, Workshop Wednesday is brought to you by HEB Helping Here. And we picked some really cool items this time from HEB. We made a bundle of art supplies. There's like colored pencils, there's markers, there's a really pretty notebook, and it all comes in a basket. There's even some Easter stuff in there. So if you're interested in entering the giveaway, all you need to do is take a picture of yourself working on your painting or your supplies, like showing us that you're ready to go and that you participated. Even if you didn't get a kit, you wanted to participate anyway, and you happen to have these supplies. They have until when? Saturday morning to submit a photo and enter in the giveaway. If you add everyone who registered for a kit gets an automatic registration or gets an automatic entry into the giveaway. But if you comment a photo, that'll give you an extra entry. And I don't think you want to miss it.
Let's give some shout outs to some people.
Yes.
We have the Rosario Garza saying beautiful painting.
Oh, thank you.
Mercedes says she loves it.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Laura says great job, looks nice.
Awesome.
We also had some people from Marley's going to join later. Internet wasn't doing so good.
Oh, not a problem.
Catalina and Regina. And Sarah, Genesis, and Rudy. I think they always tune in.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much. Wow, I ended up filling this in faster than I thought. Those paint strokes really helped me fill it in. Maybe I might, let's see, how much time do we have?
10 minutes.
All right. Okay. I think I might just add a little bit more warmth to my sky, and then I'll go ahead and end there. But I will talk just real quick. I'll share some interesting facts about my other artists. So Georgio O'Keeffe, I said she was a Canadian artist. Georgio O'Keeffe, my Canadian artist, is someone else. I'll talk about her in a bit. But Georgio O'Keeffe, she ended up living for a very long time. She had a lot of experience and input in the world, art history world. I'm trying to make it look like my sun is coming out from this corner. And she played a very big role on modern art. Georgia, I think she ended up studying in universities that allowed her to, not forced her, but made her open her ideas to the way a painting is made and the way the use of your materials. That's really what her focus was, and of course, she was inspired by nature. So those close-ups of those flowers that she would make, or her landscapes, really helped her focus or exercise those ideas. I think I read that Georgio O'Keeffe, she was painting when she was younger, and she ended up getting so tired of the smell of turpentine that it made her sick, so she stopped painting for about 4 years. And I thought that was interesting. So I think at that time she started working on charcoals, and that really challenged her to how else other than painting could she express her ideas. I'm just adding a little bit of white, right here at the edge, just to kind of help separate it. I feel like, especially if you have a lot of color going on, white can definitely help your painting. Some little room to breathe from all the color. So if you feel, again, if you're making a very colorful painting, I know these colors are very bright, try a little bit of white in there, especially for highlights, and see what it does for your painting. Let's see. Oh, Emily Carr was my third artist, and she's one of the earliest artists. She's from early, mid-1800s, 1800s, yeah. And that was a very different time in history. That was definitely, as a woman, a challenge to really stand out in the world of male artists. Women artists were not as easily seen, yeah, or welcomed in the art world. So, I mean,
Not even like art schools.
yeah, not even art schools, exactly. Interesting, cool thing is all three of these artists have schools named after them over the world, art institutes, and I thought that was neat. Yeah, that different times and challenges. I think it's really cool to look back in history and what kind of challenges women faced, and the history of it. I think really helps us make sure that we continue that movement of inclusivity for women, and really open up that or expand the definition of art and different types of perspectives. Cool. So yeah, I think I'm done. I'm having so much fun. Just a little bit more. Okay, I'll add to my sky. Why not? Yeah, I really encourage you to go look at these artists, and not just the artists that, again, I have gotten inspired by, but go out there. A lot of the artists have their, even artists that are no longer with us, have pages or websites that have some very educational information and online resources. And I would say go out there, get inspired, and then hopefully you come back and watch this video and make something that inspires you. I hope to see photos. I'd really love to see what you made and what inspires you, and share your work, because we're all trying to inspire each other. I'm trying to inspire you, and maybe what you make might inspire me for the next time. So yeah, this is a Workshop Wednesday. This is my work of art inspired by 3 women artists that I've chosen. And stay tuned for next month for our next workshop. And again, thank you HEB Helping here for making this possible. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We'll see you next time.